Here's the breaking news. Bill Shine, Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications, has, as of last evening, handed in his resignation, and the president accepted that resignation. Shine will leave the White House, but he will serve as senior advisor for the re-election campaign of 2020. He took the job, Sandra, in June of 2018, so about 9 or 10 months on that job in the West Wing.
The president responding with a statement saying that he's done an outstanding job. But he looks forward to working with him on the 2020 campaign. Mick Mulvaney also putting out a statement saying he looks forward to all his future contributions. Among other things, Sarah Sanders calling this a big loss for the White House, but a huge gain for the president's re-election campaign. He
did not make the trip to Hanoi, Vietnam. It was there was some chatter as to whether or not that meant anything, but I was given assurance that he stayed home because of a couple things. The Michael Cohen storm that was brewing back home, and also the upcoming CPAC appearance that happened Saturday last weekend. John Roberts from the North Lawn picks it up from there. And John, what are you hearing?
Really came as a surprise, Bill, this morning because Bill Shine was out there at the departure, making sure that everything went smoothly. And then the next thing we know, his resignation has been announced. He tendered it to the president last night. I mean, here's one of the things that we do know, that he's probably going to be joining the campaign at least in a consulting position, if not officially an employee of the campaign. I was told a moment ago that he probably is likely joining the campaign full time. But one of the things that Bill has wrestled with for a long time has been that he's been here in Washington alone. I know he's been having a hard time, because he and I have talked about it from time to time. Without giving too much away in terms of private conversations, had a hard time not being with his family, and had a hard time having an opportunity to get back and forth to see his family. So that may have played into it as well. And then, of course, there was that big New Yorker article that was out the other day that talked about there being a direct connection between the White House and Fox News vis-a-vis Bill Shine, and the fact that he was still being paid by Fox News as part of his severance package while still working at the White House. And maybe he felt that that was too much of a distraction. I don't know for sure, but I mean, that's part of what could have been playing into all of this. I know that the president did appreciate all of his input. Bill was very close to the president, was in most, if not all, of the big meetings. But it is quite a shock that he was there this morning, and now we learn that he's going to be walking out the door.
Who would take that job, John, and what does that job entirely entail?
We don't know who will take the job. Megan Burris, who was Mick Mulvaney's spokesperson over at OMB, was recently brought over from OMB literally across the driveway to the West Wing, but she's going to serve as the director of the Office of Media Affairs, replacing Helen Ferre, who left a little while ago. So that the job of communications director is open again. And what the communications director does is coordinates message between the White House and all of the departments so that everybody's on the same page. But the role that Shine filled was a little bit different than that, in that I mean, he was a main liaison to the media as well. So he was almost serving in a parallel capacity in many ways to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. So no idea who might fill that bill. I mean, there are all of the usual suspects' names that come up, but at this point, we're still, digging to the bottom of why exactly it is that Bill decided to leave, as opposed to who's going to be replacing him. But we'll probably find that out soon enough. Who knows? Maybe the mooch will come back.
We'll see. John, while this news is breaking, obviously these are live pictures that we're seeing on the ground there in Fort Benning, Georgia. Air Force One just landed. You saw the president, the first lady, and his son have just boarded Marine One. They're now on their way down to Alabama to survey the damage there. That is the latest on the president. We continue to keep these live pictures up. John Roberts, last words, please.
Well, the president will be down there to survey the damage, and of course, what happened there in Alabama is something that's very much on his mind, particularly given the politics of the state of Alabama. But that doesn't even really matter in a case like this. But we did see some other interesting things that the president had to say this morning about the Paul Manafort case. The president tweeted on the way down there, by the way, that Michael Cohen asked him directly for a pardon, which bumps this up to a whole new level. The president alluded on the way out the door that he had something more to say about it, and it looks like that might be it. So that'll be some piece of string that we'll be pulling on all day today as well.
Thank you, John. Good work there. John Roberts.